What I pick quarrel with is the use of the word "you are a fool."
The minister said I didn't call him a fool.
No. We all watched it. You are a fool. You are a fool because the uniform of that young man represents our sovereignty. It represents the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That young man is under the president, and that uniform is Nigerian uniform. So the respect you will accord your national flag is the respect you will accord police uniform, military uniform, naval, anything call it. That way, we draw our strength of patriotism and respect for statutory authorities. So, Mr. Wike was not right to use that word. It is inappropriate, and the fact that he has said he didn't use that word means that he now realized that he faltered. So even if he can't say he's sorry, he should apologize to Nigerians. You know, it doesn't remove anything from his personality, from his responsibility as a minister, and all that.
All right, Prince Kassim Afegbua is the Commissioner for Information in Edo State, and he's our guest this morning on Naija Unfiltered. All right, before we delve into Edo, let's look at some stories around your good friend, the FCT Minister. Yes, on Wike, his altercation with the Naval officer, and then latest suspension, expulsion from the PDP. What does it say of the civilian-military relationship?
Quite a loaded question. And I will give you my very honest opinion. Having watched the scenario, number one, as a military officer, it was wrong for the young man to be playing the role of a guard to a private property of his principal. That was not why we sent him to school using Nigerian resources to train him as a young naval officer. Then that also brings to question the often repeated complaint about police officers being reduced to domestic workers. Some of them carrying umbrellas for their principal, carrying bags and all that. That is not their primary responsibility. But because the country has grown over the years to witness all of this kind of abuse of responsibility, so people are, likely going to clap for those persons, and that was what happened in the case of the young man, Lieutenant Yarima. But on the face of law, that is not his responsibility to be tending to a private property of his boss. He was not posted there by the Naval Command. So that is one. On the side of the minister, it is permissible within the calling of his office to try to enforce certain maybe infractions, observe infractions, or try to enforce certain rules and regulations with respect to management of lands in FCT under his purview. What I pick quarrel with is the use of the word "you are a fool."
The minister said I didn't call him a fool.
No. We all watched it. You are a fool. You are a fool because the uniform of that young man represents our sovereignty. It represents the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. that young man is under the president. And that uniform is Nigerian uniform. So the respect you will accord your national flag is the respect you will accord police uniform, military uniform, naval, anything called it. That way, we draw our strength of patriotism and respect for statutory authorities. So, Mr. Wike was not right to use that word. It is inappropriate, and the fact that he has said he didn't use that word means that he now realized that he faltered. So, even if he can't say he's sorry, we should apologize to Nigerians. You know, it doesn't remove anything from his personality, from his responsibility as a minister, and all that. And going forward, I want a situation where the minister should set up an enforcement department or directorate. And they should equip themselves with valid court judgments on issues of land administration in the FCT. It is better you equip yourself with the verdict of the statutory body that should be the final arbiter, so that when you go there, you don't behave as if you have gone there to impose your personality on the issue. But some of these things are the side attractions that make Nigeria tick. All of us laughed. Yesterday I saw all kinds of TikTok adulteration of that particular
content creators.
Counter, and you see content creators, this one is throwing blue, this one is throwing blue, and all that. You just laugh off our follies. Try and be happy people. We'll chart the way forward, you know. And so, Wike has been doing quite a lot in the FCT. I must give him that credit. You may not like him, and that is what informed all the hoopla that attended that young man's conduct. You may not like him. Every individual is not bound to be liked by everyone, but he has his circle of friends, loyalists, admirers. And there are people who also like the fact that he's very dramatic, very bold and courageous, you know. In terms of civil-military relationship, we are still a growing democracy. We are still trying to get ourselves off the vestiges of military adventurism in our politics. And so you are likely going to still see some of these vestiges rearing their ugly heads when encounters such as this come to the fore. But essentially, I think we are getting there. It's becoming clearer and clearer that democracy is better served than military authoritarianism or dictatorship.
But again, some persons argue that we want to consign the military to the barracks. But at the same time, the civilians who are now involved in terms of democracy are surrounding themselves with the military. One would have thought that we would have gotten to a point where in their convoys, you have only police and private civil defense. We had a state of emergency in Rivers State. You would have thought maybe we use a policeman, a civilian, or any other person outside the military.
I think it's the mindset. It's a function of the mindset. We have this belief that the military are more active when they are called to act on any issue than the civil and paramilitary police. It will take some time for us to begin to indoctrinate our people through deliberate orientation, attitudinal change, before we begin to entrench that culture of robust democratic norms, robust democratic practice in our political engagements. Again, taking military on those kind of stuff, by orientation and by nomenclature, the military is not supposed to participate in any internal rife issues, internal security and all that. They are to protect the territorial integrity of the country. That's why oftentimes you see their barracks are far flung from where you have civil population. They are either in the boundaries or in the outskirts, and so we again have to deliberately and consciously try as much as possible to also make them feel a sense of belonging, because they are doing so much, particularly a troubled Nigeria that has become heavily polarized, for which the current president is trying all within his powers to build cohesion, to bring together, to unite, and to also implement policy of inclusion. So, like I told you, even in our daily conduct as civilians, we are a little bit militant in some of our engagements. You see the way some of these people shout, the way they want to, we'll kill her here, we'll kill her here. Those are military mentality. But again, they stay so long in our body politic in the country. They dominated political discourse. If you look at Nigeria from 1960 to date, they stay longer. It is now that we're having a democracy, or semblance of it, if you like, that we are beginning to see some level of civil-military relationship gaining some traction, So I want to believe that it's a work in progress. With serious advocacy, continuous, discussion on this, and insistence on due process and carrying out the right responsibility, as it were, Nigeria will get to that point. I want to assure you that we are very hopeful of a very strong, virile Nigerian democracy, because hope is what keeps a country going. When the situation becomes hopeless, it will lead to anarchy and self-help, and that is what we don't want to see. So aside from all of these pockets of altercations, I think we are doing well so far, and there's also room for improvement.
All right, let's travel to Edo State now. You are one of those that played active role in every ramification to the emergence of the present governor. A lot of talk about the Art Museum, including allegations of systemic land grab in the state, use, and of course the use of the Benin Crown Prince. Can you tell us what this is all about?
Well, it is true that I participated in the campaigns for Okwebolo governorship when I rested my own Guba ambition, because I'm from the northern part of the state. I also threw my hat in the ring. But those other factors and persons felt that it was nice and natural for the Edo Central to be given the opportunity to preside over the collective patrimony of Edo State. And in this case, a homeboy, Monday Okwebolo, then a senator, came on stream and brought up the third force elements. Nobody expected him, and he clinched the ticket. And the APC was able to rally around him for the election. I was the director of publicity during the campaign. And it wasn't my intention to be appointed as a commissioner, having been a commissioner some 10 years ago. But again, like my boss would say, IBB, anytime you are called upon to serve your people, you have to go, no matter the position, whether as a counselor, as an assistant, as a helper, anything. Because the whole idea is all about service delivery. So in this case, I'm barely a month old in my position as Commissioner for Information and Strategy. I've come into a government that is very handy in terms of having his hands on the job. The governor is a very humble person, very respectful. He doesn't play the politics that are peculiar with some other persons. He's not carried away by the paraphernalia of office. He's very warm towards people. He connects with the ordinary folks out there. He has a rich dose of emotional intelligence. And he has a heart for the people. He's ready to work. He's in a hurry to transform Edo State, take it away from the rot and the decay he inherited, from those who presided over the state for 8 good years. He inherited the state without a handing over note. He's been able to unlock certain aspects of the Edo economy, and he's doing so much in infrastructural renewal, reviving education, reviving those infrastructure, health sector, security, agriculture, under his slogan, the Shine Agenda. The Shine Agenda represents security, health, infrastructure, natural resources, and education, without also losing sight of other critical factors, critical sectors of the Edo economy. Senator Monday Okpebholo, for me, in 365 days, has proven bookmakers wrong. They denigrated him during campaign. They ran all manners of commentary against him. They called him all kinds of names. The one that was dominant was calling him a panel beater. But we were very happy that he was being called a panel beater, because if you know the work of a panel beater, you will agree with me that when a vehicle is badly accidented, you need the services of a panel beater to put it to shape, return that vehicle back to the road to continue its mobility. So what Okpebholo is doing now as a panel beater, quote and unquote, is fixing the Edo accidented vehicle that was badly pummeled by the Obaseki administration. There was too much of conquistadorial mentality, too much of financial malfeasance, too much of draconian policies, too much of altercations, quarrelsomeness, divisions, factionalization of the party that he belonged, quarreling with the monarchy of Oba Obini, trying to balkanize the kingdom, all because he wants to call himself a conquistador. But conquistadors have terminal dates. And so when the terminal date came, despite all the threats, and idiosyncrasies that pointed in the direction of a dictator, Edo people, in their wisest decision, settled for Monday Okpebholo, a homeboy, different from the cowboys that were being unleashed on the state from Lagos. So today, Edo's money is building Edo. And that's why we came up with this slogan of rebuilding a new Edo. It's a tax that must be done. And that tax resonates with every sane Edo person, boy and girl, man and woman, old and young. Because we want the best for our state. We want to be in the news for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. So the previous government dwelled so much on inanities, bestialities, needless provocations than facing governance. They left the civil service and resorted to using consultants to run the state. At the end, they established 41 agencies run by consultants, including education. They call it the do best. Yet, the schools were rotten, decayed, no chairs, no tables. But for the intervention of Adam Soshomole in his 8 years, in what we call Red Roof Revolution, Edo State schools would have been a sorrier state than we met it. So this is, Okpebholo's slogan is practical governance. You can see it. You don't need to be told, we don't need to tell lies. We have recovered about 68 schools as we speak. Chairs and tables, some are still ongoing. We are building a flyover for the first time in the history of Edo State. Benin City is the only city in Nigeria that is so called. Because you can't say Benin. You must put city. Benin City. So, flyover at Ramat Park, flyover at Adesuwa Junction on Sapele Road. And you know what the PDP critics were talking about? Why are you building a flyover here? You are supposed to go and fix GRA roads. And we said, you barely left government 12 months ago. The roads didn't just get bad today. This is what we inherited. So you see the self-criticism. They think they were trying to criticize them, but they're actually criticizing themselves. Why are you building flyover? That's not what I don't need. I don't need flyover. In those places, traffic jam area, so that man-hours could be saved for people who want to pursue their legitimate daily responsibilities and interests. So we have so much going for us. The issue of the museum you mentioned, my brother, it is also part of the profligacy of that era and deceit, soaked in pretense and delivered in propaganda. When you see leaders not being able to open up, to own up to their responsibility of living within acceptable standards in terms of transparency and governance, you are going to have scenarios such as you have with Edo Museum. And let me just give you a synopsis of that. The former governor attended the birthday of Oba of Benin on October 20th, 2018, where he promised, in line with his consultations with a Edo Dialogue Group in Netherlands, that they were going to build a museum for the Oba as a befitting birthday present, and they would require 3 years. Between 2018 and 2021, the 3 years window, they started what they call the Legacy Trust Fund, Restoration, Legacy Restoration Trust. And that they put the Oba's prince, son, as a member of the committee. And from that place, they kept on going. Oba this time had been reaching out to different countries to return the artifacts. So once those artifacts started coming, the idea of that museum now, in the minds of Obaseki, started changing. He would rather have a museum that is standing low where he can benefit from those artifacts because they are coming with money. So what ought to have been given to the Oba ab initio as a consequence of saying, we are sorry for stealing your artifacts and so we are giving this support, was going to the government coffers. At some point, the Edo government, in one of their ESCO, discussed the issue of that museum and the need for Edo to own it exclusively. The bill of quantities and everything that will require to build the museum pavilion that will house all of these bronzes and artworks was presented to ESCO, and the sum of 4.1 billion was arrived at as the total cost for scratch to finish to build it. Edo State government, acting in ESCO, under Obaseki, approved that the state government will fund the project. And in different tranches, 800 million, 600 million, 1 billion, they contributed 3.8 billion out of the 4.1 billion. That's about 95% of the funding for the building of that museum came from Edo's taxpayers' money. Now, from that Legacy Restoration Trust, they changed the name to Edo Museum of West African Arts. Of course, Edo should naturally be the nucleus of such engagement. And because the Oba's son was part of the committee, it was understood that they are carrying everybody along. You can't discuss culture and tradition in Benin Kingdom without the kingdom. It will be strange because ab initio, the Oba presides over the culture, the carvings, and all the things you see. They are all insignia of the monarchy, whether you like it or not. And those artworks represent certain theme and thematic preoccupation. When you see an artwork in Benin, you need to call someone to interpret that artwork for you. They don't just happen. They are expressions of the inner feelings of the monarchy, of events, of places, of situations. So, when people talk about museum in Benin, they should understand this particular aspect. Now,
So is it right to say that the Oba owns all these artworks? Would it be right to say that?
no, there are some there are people who are promoting other artwork and all that. But the ones that are of the monarchy, you will see a difference. You understand? You certainly see a difference. Now, they put 3.8 billion into that project out of 4.1 billion, remaining 300 million. Not be so. When Obaseki was about to leave in November, they changed the name from Edo Museum of West African Arts. They remove Edo. They now say Museum of West African Arts. And set up what they call trustees. Put his friend and former staffer at the AfriInvest, who was in charge of the London office. Philip Nacho is the one who came to, who was now made the head. Chioke, MD of AfriInvest Lagos, became another trustee. And the Obaseki single-handedly chose those persons who will serve in that trustee board. Now converted what they registered with Corporate Affairs Commission as a business venture, now converted into a trustee, half-heartedly guaranteed by public trust. So they reach out to other international bodies because they know those who would naturally like issues of museum and all that. But the Oba was very, very smart and clever. Having been a very seasoned diplomat of cosmopolitan orientation, very, very cerebral, very outspoken, very exposed, he went to President Buhari, may his soul rest in peace, and said, please, these artifacts that are coming, let us warehouse them because they belong to us, both my ancestors and me. So the president granted him the possession of those artifacts with the National Museum of Monuments, of Arts and Monuments. They decided to warehouse those things in one location at Ring Road. Now, this project was still ongoing. Aside from the fact that even the location of the museum became an issue because they demolished the central hospital that was built in 1803, that was centrally located. They demolished it, demolished the mortuary, and took a large expanse of land that is neighboring the Oba Akenzua Cultural Center, which actually is a place of history for the Benins. Oba Akenzua Cultural Center, the location, happens to be the location of that Benin invasion of 1897. Now, if you go there, you see the way they now modernize that place, different from the present location of the Oba Palace. So that place is so dear to the palace, but this Emua is just right beside it. They took so much land and appropriated everything together, and they gave a CFO bearing Edo Museum of West African Arts. They pay 50,000 naira for the CFO, a land that is almost about 12 billion if you are to balkanize it to sell. There is a specialist hospital bordering them. If you go there, you will see all kinds of sewer sewer lines being demolished, and they have opened up now to pollute the environment. And they kept building. So when we came on board, we set up asset verification exercise. We went there, and we confronted the Filipino Naija and a couple of his persons. Why did you remove Edo from the name Emoa? He said Edo was no longer sellable to their partners. Edo that is the epicenter of modern civilization, epicenter of culture and tradition. So Edo is no longer there. So you just have Museum of West African Arts, Benin City, Haba. I personally told him, I said, no, Philip, it appears you are getting everything wrong. But by the time we trace their documentation, we saw that even at the CAC, what they have is the Edo Museum of West African Arts, different from what they are claiming. We knew that something was fishy. So the governor now picked interest and said, no, we are going to look deeper into it. And looking deeper into it, we have now seen that that structure housing the museum is actually belonging to Edo state government, Edo people. Edo taxpayers' money was put into it. Whatever they receive from Germany and all these other places is for them to explain. They should explain to Edo people what they did to the money. Or the foreigners should ask them, where is our money? Where is our donation? This is where we are. So a committee has been set up because we are investigating. Adam Soshomole is the chairman of the committee. He has been inaugurated. They are going to visit all of these foreign organizations and embassies and all that to ask them, Koro, eyeball to eyeball, how much you donate? Have you asked them where they spend the money? Because we, Edo State government, built that pavilion. So that's it. Instead of allowing them the large expanse of land, we conscripted them into this thing. So the governor said the CFO for Edo Museum of West African Arts is our CFO. So we revoke it so that we can reallocate that place properly based on the new geographical designs, so that they can also allow some land for other people to grow. There has been too much of a demonstration about these people calling, talking, without even knowing the foundation that I have just given you. So instead of whipping up sentiments, oh, you're going to create jobs, you're going to do this, nobody says it's not going to create jobs. If you are building a house, you must ensure that it is placed on the right footing. That is the only way that house will stand the test of time.
All right, you alluded to the fact that the previous government didn't submit any handover notes to the present government. So how did the present governor start off, knew where to start, what Edo owns, what Edo didn't own?
Yes, we've been trying, through individuals or persons who were also part of that government. Some of them volunteered a lot of information. We were able to unlock the e-governance platform, which they locked where they were going. They jammed everything and went away with the code. But the governor is an internet savvy guy. That's the job he does, as an individual before he ventured into politics. So we were able to unlock the codes that they jammed. And we're seeing documents and all that. Then some of the ones they did physical documentation, we were also able to find them on the shelves. So that way we're able to put together. And then the asset verification that we did, a lot of things unraveled. For example, we interrogated over 60-something contractors, road contractors, and discovered that Edo was owing them 187 billion naira. They were just awarding contracts, no payment. Those persons would go and borrow money from bank to commence the process. And the cost of people, commissioner for what do you call it now, roads and bridges. Yet there was no bridge built, and we didn't see the roads neither. So there were quite a number of infractions. We saw some buildings. We will go there to make inquiries. They will tell you, oh, government built it, but they have bought. And we are not seeing the money coming back to government. Edo Best, for example, got 65 million when we interrogated the people who were operating it. Got $65 million from World Bank. 5 million was captured in their books. We could see the withdrawals. withdrawals. They were paying 160 million to the consultant on Edo Best for doing nothing. It was just a conduit to siphon Edo people's money. $60 million of that money, we couldn't trace it. Till today, we're still looking for that money. So Obasanjo's era was an era of financial malfeasance, profligacy, wastage of resources for consultants. Look at Stella Obasanjo Hospital that they tried to convert. That they wanted to convert it into general hospital. They appointed a consultant that will oversee the project and paid him 965 million, almost $1 billion naira, for just supervision. Do you know what happened? They paid him 100%. The guy resigned from the job as soon as Obasanjo was leaving office. Now we couldn't even find him. We have been looking for him. We couldn't locate him. He just vanished. And yet the project is just 55% completed. No mortuary built, no administrative block built, no cable, no electricity. Now we are being made to pay 7.2 billion naira in the first instance, aside from even carrying out, continuation of the construction. The Edo Education Hub, the same thing. We are owing 73.2 billion naira according to the contractor. They just make all the noise. We built this, we did this, we did that. So it would be right to say that actually Senator Monday Okpebolo that is building the Stella Obasanjo now, that is also going to complete the project of Edo Education Hub, because the previous government literally paid pittance and abandoned the projects midstream. They were looking for money to do election, so they were giving bogus pricing on all of these projects. And that is what we are seeing. The roads are bad. Every people can see it. It's now we are trying to fix a lot of the roads in Benin City and elsewhere. And so it is not easy. I don't envy the governor at all. The responsibilities are much.
So the Stella Obasanjo Hospital now, how soon are Edo people likely to begin to access?
The governor has already given directive for continuation of the job, and it's already paid part of the money we are owing the contractor. So it's just the special advisor to the governor on projects is the one that is monitoring all of that.
In Edo lately, there have been so much talks about cuttings, killings, deaths. What exactly is happening?
Well, that was what we inherited. Again, you wake up in the morning, you hear 5 people have been killed. Intra-court rivalry, inter-court rivalry. You just be hearing po and all that. So 6 people killed today, 9 people killed tomorrow, 3, 2. The governor said, what is happening? No, I can't preside over this state and this thing will happen. So he went to the state assembly. They tinker with the law and put in some provisions that if you are caught, you either face 20 years imprisonment or you face death without option of fine. And if your house is implicated as one of the hideouts to court activities or court-related activities, we'll bring it down. So we've been able to bring down a couple of them. We even brought down the building of members of the Black Arts movement, the Black movement. We brought it out. Some we are going to convert them to police station so that policing can be going on there. And that is what it is. Only recently, the members of the BBC in London came to interview the governor to appreciate him for his intervention, a very strong political will that he has deployed to arrest, the drift with respect to cultism in Edo State. And it's not an easy task, but we're happy that it has yielded results. Nightlife has returned to Benin now. You won't hear anybody shooting and say he's a court member. If we catch you, no matter the beauty of your house, we take it over, we bring part of it down, and we'll convert it to government use. That's what we are doing, and it's working across the state, not necessarily Benin City.
So the tension arising from
has dropped, and nightlife has returned. I can assure you can go about everywhere. People who came for our 365 days, they all move around. Some of our investors, Chinese people and other people, they move around, they went and catch their phone, nightclubs and all that. They came back home peacefully, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., without molestation.
All right, now you talked about 365 days. The governor is 1 year in office now.
Yes.
Looking back, what are some of his achievements in the last 1 year?
Well, I mentioned the issue of flyover that he's building by April to be completed. Another one at Additional Junction, where he has recovered about 68 schools, public schools. Enrollment into public schools now has increased. He's buying chairs and tables into those schools, not just repairing them, but ensuring that the necessary things, marker boards are being introduced. We have road construction across the state. He's building 254 kilometers of road. Within that 254, about 53, 54 thereabouts have been completed. He has built about 60 primary health care centers across the state. He's taking that number to 146. He has also bought 60, Hilux vans for police and set up what they call strike force, Edo strike force, to combat crime and criminality. He has recruited 2,500 Edo sons and daughters into the Edo Security Corps to help community policing, help police and civil defense and DSS, to mitigate incidences of crimes and criminalities. He has also recruited 5,000 teachers, those that Obaseki placed on casuals. We have fully absorbed into Edo civil service. We have also employed close to about 1,000 civil servants, to cover up the shortfall and the huge gap that Obaseki left behind as a consequence of the use of consultants in those times. So when you talk to an average civil servant, they tell you they have spent 7 years in one position, no promotion and all that. It's now that we are doing all of that, promotion, in-service training and what have you. So there are quite a number of rules that the government is doing. But now that we're entering into dry season, we are going to increase the pace. Edo today is a construction site. Agriculture, we have what they call Udomi farms. Our maize are ready for harvest, covering over 600 hectares, and the off-takers are ready to pick all of that. We're also opening our doors to investors for solar farm, agricultural rice production, cement factory building, and some other people are trying to tap into our lithium, which is a very good resource. We have what do you call it now? Asphalt plants coming up. Quite a number of things, coming up. But the road infrastructure is receiving huge attention from the governor. He's not just sitting back. He makes sure he goes around to inspect that, to ensure that everything fits into the measurement, the building measurement that was initially approved. So if you come to Edo, we can take you around without any fear of contradiction. That what we have done in 1 year is more than what Obaseki did in 4 years. And I'm saying this with due sense of responsibility. Because everything they did in their legacy are shrouded in secrecy, contradiction, and so many other things. The Edo Radisson Hotel is another issue. They went to the stock market. They collected bond close to 30 billion. By the time they bought a building that was formerly owned by Ritz Hotel, then they reinforced it and continued building from there. The contractor charged 15 billion to build and deliver. After, when it was a time for them to leave government, he increased the rate to 22.5 billion in the name of variation and talking about the volatility of the dollar exchange rate. No problem, we paid. At the end of the day, after we have paid for all of this, spending about 31 billion altogether, they ceded 20% to Edo people, and they carry 80% for Obaseki's friend, who came and registered a company in May 2024, himself, his wife, and his daughter at the board at the directors of that new company that acquired, that's having 80% of Radisson Hotel. So we are still going to go back to that to ask questions. We are going to sit on the round table for them to present their details so that we'll talk about the proper ownership of Edo Radisson Hotel.
All right, we're in the second leg of his second year in office. What should Edo people be expecting as we go forward in the second year now?
Well, we have a homeboy as a governor of the state, and we're happy about that. Edo money will build Edo. He's been able to create a lot of cohesion across the state, a lot of unity of purpose, a lot of solidarity, a lot of homogeneity of our people because we are essentially one. Our cultures are interwoven. So that's why we could say Edo Okpamahi. So now that we have set a good template for our first 1 year, We are looking forward to delivering more service. And this second year, a lot of our projects will have been completed. New ones will have commenced. And that way, Edo will begin to sing new Hosanna song. Because, my brother, what we inherited, if I show you before and after, in terms of programs, projects, physical infrastructure, and all of that, you will marvel. So, look at Ambrosali University. The past government was giving 41 million naira as subvention. We have increased that to 500 million naira. We have not faltered in 7-8 months.
Million.
Yes, to 500 million now. So we set up a governing council chairman by Chief Dan Obi. We have appointed, using the right process, a substantive vice chancellor. It was not like that before. They were using a caretaker to run a university. Edo University, EMO, Uzare, is also being given 250 million monthly as subvention. Before then, 1 kobo they were not getting. Lecturers in Ambrosali University will be owed over 50 million salary. We have paid all of that now. The one in Ekiadolo that was seized for 3 good years, they shut it down. Staff abandoned. We have started paying them. They are all celebrating. They are happy. So when you have a governor who is doing things that are expected to be done by a chief executive of a state, the people will naturally key into it. So when you come to Edo and you see the governor going around, you see the level of praises, joy, excitement, on the lips of people. Look at Oba Market. He got burnt under Obaseki. He promised them 100 million. He didn't do it. He didn't deliver 100 million. Today, we have ordered that contract, taking several billions of naira to transform it into a modern day market. Look at Ekoma Market, the same thing we are doing. Jatu Market was also burnt. About 2 people who lost their lives in that Jatu Market in Esako West local government. I do not. They are doing the market now. Brand new market. So we are doing quite a number of things. And the governor has just told me just last week that he's going to commence building trailer parks in my community of Opola, so that those trailers in Boa Cement area and Dagote can have a place to, we have improved our IGR from 5.5 billion that we inherited to 10 billion. So when you correlate that with what we are getting from Federation account, you can explain why you are seeing a lot of activities in Edo State. Edo is a construction site as we speak, and we're happy about that. You have a governor who is very accessible to the people. No ceremonies, no protocol of no tight neck, or what do we call it? Bottleneck protocols and all that. No, he's very. I allow people to come to me because if I finish from this, being the governor, I'm going to go to my village. You'll be surprised that the governor is even fixing the road going to Obaseki's ancestral home. As we talk, 14 kilometers road, we have commenced it. We're going to finish this dry season. And it's covering about nine communities together. The government has been flagged it up about 6 months ago. So because of the rains, there's a slow pace of work. But this dry season, we're going to take it up and ancestral home of Obaseki. He abandoned his community, he abandoned his home, and he will come and be singing to us. Without chasing him, the man has run away. He ran away to overseas. Today you see him in Rome, whether he went to see the Pope so that they can forgive him his sins or cleanse him of his halitosis. He went to Edinburgh. We saw him in a beer parlor. We were drinking palm wine. The videos are all over the social media. They are shouting today. They are shouting tomorrow. I will say, please, nobody is chasing you. Come back home. Be in the embrace of people. Your wife is tired. The woman is kept wearing almost one dress, going everywhere with bag and all that. It's quite bad. I will say, that woman is a director in Bank of Industry. Allow her to come and do her work and stop. Come taking her all over the place as a fugitive. So you go Canada, you go and talk. You go Edinburgh, you go and talk. You go Rome, you go and talk. Is that where you should be talking? Come back home and talk. Come and pack your mess. It is easier for people to sweet talk. Technocrats, technocratic this thing. We have not seen the technocrat. The man they call a paramilitary is doing more than what a technocrat claimed to have done. They are just smart guys who tried all their means to use decoy, pretentiousness, and over sanctimoniousness to pillage those resources. Economic predators of uncommon status. Buccaneers, economic buccaneers who butchered those states and left the state bleeding, profusely, and they will still have the guts to be talking from elsewhere in the country. We are going to be asking further questions on so many critical areas of the Edo economy. Because leaving them to exist where they are, they think that the long arm of the law will not catch up with them. But we are coming to that now. We have gotten a background information of what we wanted. Even the donors to the Edo Museum of West African Arts, they will ask questions, and it's in their country. So we'll tell them to apprehend him, because we want to see what is in the books from the donor agencies.
It looks as if the governor has discontinued the project, the teaching project, education project, where the former governor
Edo best. Is Edo worse, my brother? Did I not just tell you now that 160 million was being taken from our coffers to pay a consultant who came with tablets? They say tablets. They say there's a uniform lesson note. They say it's e-learning. Do you have internet anywhere in Edo? Even when you go to your village, you have to go and climb a tree for you to be able to get it. Even in my own village, I had to buy another line for me to have access to the telephone. Then somebody is telling you that there is internet everywhere that you connect. Children, when they are on holiday, they learn from home. Is that not fraud? Modern day 419? Complete fraud, my brother. And all of these persons who presided over these establishments and agencies, they've all vamoosed. They've eloped. They're in Canada, they built houses, bought houses in those places. They're in America, they're in UK. Even the governor's chief press secretary, is also in UK there.
Is there any plans to prosecute all these people in the light of all that you have said, you have found out?
We are going to prosecute them. That is why, like, the governor sent a petition to the State Assembly on Emoa and Radisson Hotel, so that it grants people the opportunity for public hearing. Let people come and hear them. So that by the time they finish and they present their reports, we will now know where to take it further. We will set up a further judicial commission of inquiry that will have the force of law. Because what we did before were just committees trying to collate information and all that. We have now established a lot. We will probe them. We will catch up with them. They cannot run beyond their shadow. They cannot.
Won't it be a distraction for the government?
No, distraction. A governor who has decided to work knows how to call a pot by its very name without thinking that a pot is a spoon. Those guys are just common vuvuzelas who are just blowing their trumpets and making noise in Edo, beating drums and all that. We welcome constructive criticism, my brother. We don't want destructive criticism and needless distractions by some tongue-coat politicians who are trying to remain relevant. The PDP in Edo is factionalized, and the national is in disarray. You were talking earlier about the PDP expelling certain persons, Wike and some other person and all that. A party that is already carrying a lot of sore all over his body and all that. They should be looking for how to get a soft landing. There are court verdicts that you shouldn't hold convention. There's another one that says you should hold and all that. And at the end of the day, you see governors resisting the urge to suspend persons. So at the state level, there are in three factions. So you don't even know the one we are even dealing with. But there's one that is, they have one or two of their persons on ground that they should be making noise. At least they still get some perks from Obaseki, part of the resources they took away from the state.
What's the relationship between the Oba and the present governor? Because
very robust. Father-son relationship, very robust. Oba came to participate in our 365 days in the hall and spent 4 good hours listening to us. So that's very uncommon. And so we're happy about that. Before that, he paid a courtesy call the governor last Upper Week Friday. He came to governor, paid a courtesy call, and he also raised his perspectives concerning the MOA. So these guys were just smart guys, man. I don't know if that is the other name for technocrats, or what do you call them. They are quite ingenious in terms of how they are able to, apply shortcuts, to derail the state. Just come to Edo and see the roads. Within the first 2 months of Governor Kwebolo, the road that was abandoned from Benin to Ekpoma, he fixed all the potholes. And you can make Iroele Ekpoma in 45 minutes. Within the first 2 months. This was what they mounted signboard to say, we are sorry, we are unable to fix and all that. And Sapele Road, a bicycle vehicle got stuck one day, and the videos are all over the social media. We are fixing it and we're expanding it. And that is part of where we are even putting overhead.
The The trailer park you talked about in Okbela, which a lot of persons flying that road complain about, how soon is that going to be?
Very soon it's going to come. This dry season is the best time to do that. Very, very soon. I can assure you. It will also gladden my heart that at least something good is coming to my area to take away the trailers from the roads, and save people needless accidents every now and then.
All right. We say thank you very much for obliging us your time, and we in SYMFONI also say congratulations to the governor.
I should be thanking you people for giving us platform to air our views, because when they think that they are so lousy, noisy, and displaying all kinds of vuvuzela skills, platforms such as yours also want to hear from the horse's mouth. And I've told you the way it is. There's too many infractions, too many subterfuge, too many subterranean transactions. They are now coming to the fore. People are now seeing them. They say, okay, we didn't know this is how it is. That is the beauty of platforms such as SYMFONI.